spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager meaning. I have yet.
mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z.
Once again, this broadcast has been brought to you by mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z, where reading fundamental. Also brought to you by bindedbooks.com, where treasures are bound. Be sure to get all of your teas at My Son's Teas, the tea of teas, divinely prepared at herbsofmyaunt.com. Be sure to check out all of those musical stylings by Brian Hicks Bey at bhbeymusic.com. For your everyday items and religious regalia, be sure to check out mooreshaberdasher.com. And for that everyday especial Moorish drip, be sure to check out moresachi.com. And all of these companies are powered by ALO Design Pros. Design your online business strategy today.
No such thing as failure, baby. Don't forget who made you. You can't be thinking minor when you need to be thinking major. They made you think they saved you, but can't nobody save you. And
Peace, 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 peace. Peace and love, family. It's your noble Mufti A Wright-Bey, and we back for another installment of the BBT Holy Day book reading. I appreciate your time and your presence that you're dedicated to take out for just little old me. And we want to open up our discussion today with the map, which is the Moorish American prayer. Before I do that, I would like to send greetings and love and high praise to Sheikh, Khary, Ibna, Goodman, ELBey of the Moorish group, of course, that you see before y'all today, displayed with the BBT, which is the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And we open up our library on Fridays, which is a holy day for Muslims all around the world. And we love to give literature to edify our soul and to give us food for thought, something to think about. And in the month of June, by the grace of Allah, we are going over Sheikh Khary's books, which Sheikh Khary has authored and divinely prepared a few books that we want to discuss over this month. Islam, and for a lot of us, we may have seen in our neighborhoods, maybe within our own families, right? Men or women that would adorn this religious headdress, right? This national and religious headdress, if you will, right? So tonight, I as an introduction to someone who may have seen this for the first time, or have maybe seen it a few times, but may have never been given an explanation of what it represents, what it is, some of the significance, because of course we wouldn't have the space here to expound on it in totality, but by the grace of Allah, the Holy Spirit, we are able to illuminate some of the qualities and attributes of the FEZ, Islam, and that is coming through one of Sheikh Khary's publications, which is called The Esoteric Science of the Moorish FEZ, Islam. So we want to get into that tonight or today, however you're watching this particular recording. So again, we appreciate your presence, and without further ado, let's jump right on the stage. Boom. So we have the esoteric, or the history of the FEZ, right? But I want to also display the dazzling design that yours truly developed for an updated cover illustration for the esoteric science of the FEZ, and I'm going to bring it up on stage so you can take a look at it, right? Let's remove this. Boom. So what you're seeing is the esoteric science of the FEZ, of the Moorish FEZ, right? Gathered, compiled, and divinely prepared by who? Sheikh, right? By Noble, Ibna Hakim, Goodman Bey. Prepared for publication by Empress Mayat Bey. And as we look down on the screen, we see it says, by the guiding of his father God, Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God, Allah. Islam. And at the very, very bottom of the page, I'll remove this particular compilation that she put together is dedicated to the life and memory of his beloved brother, Ajelani Goodman Bey, who was taken from us early in life. Islam. And my loving parents, which is Sheikh's parents, Larry and Inez Goodman Bey. These particular writings have been compiled in their honor and in their memory. So we say Islam and Ashe to that. So let's now pull back up here what we're doing, all right? Let's go. Making sure I got all my ducks in a row. Let's do it. Let's bring this back on stage. Let's come back out and let's take this down. Let's read it back on stage. Let's go. Islam. So let's talk about the FEZ. And I'm not going to go too fast. We won't be able to read the whole particular piece of literature in this particular session. But by Allah's grace, we will get through these books. We won't jump around. We'll wherever we left off the next week, the next noble or empress will pick up, and we can finish it off. Islam. So let's start. Now we see at the top of this page, right, these symbols. I want to highlight this and not stay too long on it, but I want to highlight it for the particular purpose, right? And I'm going to bring something on our stage to elevate this even more. All right. Now, most times when we see symbols and signs, we usually run away from it. There's no one to really give us some illumination on it because of the circumstances of their oath. They don't have that ability to go into it in depth with what we would call, I won't even use that term, but someone that's not initiated. Islam. So to highlight this, and that's giving us a preface before we even go into the history of the FEZ, to bring our minds into a certain level and area of perspective. When we hear the word Islam, I would say majority of the time, we're thinking about it from a religious perspective, as a practice in its sense, and that alone. But there's so many more layers when we speak about Islam on the earth plane that will give us a glimpse into the nature of man and the universe. What we see before us are 5 symbols, and we see the acronym Islam. So I'm going to just read through it as you've been looking at, right? So we see the crescent moon and star, right? The 5-pointed star. It says would represent I from the creator of the universe, representing mother. Key, representing mother, right? When we say mother, we also saying matter, right? When we saying mother, we also saying what? Womb. Remember that. Womb. So I, from the creator of the universe, representing mother and child. That star, representing child. From hence you came. Why? You came from your mother in 9 months, right? Just like I did, right? You have a belly button, what they call it, a what? A navel, right? You have a navel. Watch this. S stands for self. each one of us is a trinity. Watch this. This being what? The symbol of civilization. Each one of us a trinity. We can say mind, body, and soul, mind, body, and spirit. We could say liquid, solid, and gases, right? We could say proton, neutrons, electrons, right? We can go into a lot of different dispensations if we want to talk about self in the Trinity, right? Now, when we're moving on to, you see this next symbol here, which some will know as Masonic symbol, if you will, but it's the compass and the square, right? There's no ownership. This is the compass and the square. And we use what? The compass to draw. Listen, come on. These are tools in the workshop of the mind. But when we look at this compass and square representing law, right? Measurement. We see the law representing length, angle, and what? Width, right? Of the cosmic energies that what? Marked us, right? So we still talking about man. We still talking about creation. We still talking about nature. We still talking about the universe with the celestial bodies. Come on now. We move into the hex alpha, the dual trine, right? We see these two triangles overlapping each other, right? 6-pointed star. Some may even see this as what? Star of David, if you will, right? Others may see it as the seal of Solomon. We see it as also as Am, the A, the joining of two triangles, male and female principles. What? The triune, which create another I am. Islam. And the last seal here, which is the master seal, we see this is dealing with navigation. Islam, this being the glyph for what? The earth plane, or the planet Earth, of which we are on and aspires to be what? Master navigators upon. And all of these signs and symbols have plethora of meanings to unpack and unfold. What I wanted to do is bring this on stage to just give a tittle of the word and the acronym of Islam. So when I am talking about it in this piece of literature, and as you hear it, you'll know that there isn't just that one layer when we're speaking of Islam. And even in further research, if you dedicate some time, you'll see many other acronyms of Islam. And I can just give you an example. One would be intergalactic scientific law and manifestation. Islam. So we're dealing with the makeup of man, the makeup of the universe, the inner and outer workings of such into a science or a school of thought. When we see these signs and symbols, this is the beginning of knowledge, where we start to unpack and unfold self. Islam. So when you see I, self, law, am master, it is not built up from the ego. It is the actual state of being itself. Islam. So boom, let's jump into this. History of the FEZ. Shout out to Sheikh, Khary, man. Now let me tell you something, right? If you ever sat in front of somebody that was a teacher and you walked away with a piece of knowledge or two and something that can add to your life and, you know, better yourself, hey, when you want to spread it, when you want to tell somebody about it, right? So I'm here right now, as I do each and every time, as all of us from the BBT stands up and show and prove and bear witness to the heart and the spirit of Sheikh Khary. Not only does he provide the teachings for us, but he take his teeth out, and get on the titty per se. And pardon that French if it's vulgar to you, but it basically saying that, listen, he illuminates the science in such a way that a baby can understand, putting truth in a baby bottle. so that why we can grow by a map and a guide that's going to lead and direct our steps, so we can become what? Master navigators upon the earth plane, right? Learning how what? Not only to live, but realizing that we have yet to begin. Islam. Let's jump into this. The history of the FEZ, right? So now the FEZ originated from the city of Fez in ancient Morocco. The Fez is also known as the Tarbush, which is a Persian for sarbush, or for head covering, and of Chachia. Now, if you come through a certain age range, you know when you say Chachia, you know what that brings up. Keep that in your hippocampus, right? But it was what? Growing things. Now, the modern Fez is made of felt, shaped roughly like a canister. You know, you're seeing what it looked like. It's sitting on top of my head. You know, and it's truncated as a cone, right? Tapering slightly toward the top where there's a tassel fixed to the middle of the flat top. This sort of fez is often worn by members of the Shriners Fraternal Organization. The difference is the fact the fez has 4 circles on top, and it is custom made with Shriner emblems. So I'll pause there. You may have seen if any other brothers were either marching or parading down in your neighborhood at certain particular seasons of the year, you will see some with this, maybe different colors, right? But it will have either rubies studded out, different things as they wear their regalia, different things, saying words on them, like Mecca, Medina, certain things like that you would see, right? Now it says they adopted, watch this, they adopted the Fez for themselves. We cannot go into the Shriner Fez organization because some of us are Shriners also, right? But we can tell you it is that some of us are allowed to wear our fezzes. Watch this, 24 hours a day. Watch this, 360 days a week. That reason is because we inherit the fez from who? Our Moorish forefathers who wore the fez during their seat of power. Watch this. So it wasn't adopted. This is what Sheikh is bringing out, the distinction between inheritance and adopted. Come on. We are, watch this, Moors by birth. This is just a matter of fact. It isn't even braggadocious. We just have to set the level straight, right? So that way we can walk out holding hands, not bickering and backbiting with each other, right? Now, these are just factual, records of the past in which are not argumentative. There's no rebuttal to these things, but some of us may be hearing this for the first time. Islam, we are Moors by birth and not an adopted right. The last thing we would like to say is that all Moors must remember that Muslims are what? Born, not made. I want you to do some research on what a Muslim consists of. Islam, about 980 AD, the Hajj was interrupted and the pilgrimages of those living west of the Nile were directed to Fez as the holy city. A Moor in Fez supplies a new style of headdresses that started to be widely used by the students of a particular school, right? The Moorish Fez became a mark of intelligence and came to be worn along the northern shores of what today they call Africa, right? The Fez meant that you claimed your bloodline and that you were a high evolved noble. Come on. The red Fez symbolizes the supreme pinnacle of applicable wisdom, This original form is still worn in Tunisia, Tripoli, and Morocco. In 1826, a Sultan, Muhammad II of the Ottoman Empire, was looking to break with tradition and update the official dress of the empire's civil service, right? So what that mean? The civil service, but those who protected and what had administrative right over the empire, right? These are the dress that the Ottoman Empire enforced upon these particular individuals, right? So he originally looked at a three-cornered hat of European descent. You know, that three-cornered hat. What do we three-corner hat, the brim out, right? Listen. And then he went on and boom. But his divan, right? Watch this. His divan pointed out that the three-cornered represented the Holy Trinity, and he reconsidered. So a shipment of fezzes had recently arrived from Tunisia, so they were selected instead. See where they came from. It was considered the special badge of Turkish subject, and all, even if not a Muslim, were obliged to wear it. Women wore fezzes as well. But the women's were smaller and without tassels at the time. The transition to the fez was resisted for some time, but by the end of the century, Turkey was swept up by an Europeanization wave, and the fez became what? A loved symbol of what? Nationality. But amongst that people, right? Now watch this. Fez formerly as a monopoly on the manufacture, or has formerly a monopoly of the manufacturing of the fez hat, right? Because why? It controlled the juice of the berry used to color them. This information is known among many Masons, particularly Albion Shriners. However, the discovery of the dyes in the 19th century allowed the manufacturers to spread, right, to France, Germany, and Austria. Right at the beginning of the 20th century, Austria was the main center of the fez industry. Kemal Atatürk, leader of the Young Turks, felt the fez was backward and dressed only in Western nobility, British suits and styles. So on August 30th, 1925, he banned the fez in an attempt to push Turkey into the modern world, right? What happened after this? Watch. Based on this effort, you know what I'm saying, this effort was resisted with some fury to the point that several riots broke out and fezzes were seized and as illegal contraband. So this is some of the history, right? Now, it says by the 1930s, the fez was almost gone in Turkey when one last attempt was made to reintroduce it by a group who planned to overthrow Ataturk. This ended in deadly results, with a total of some 9 people shot down in the streets of Turkey, as the records produce, right? So the fez has also been a high distinction. In history, the fez was represented only by chiefs and captains who wore the fez, right? Black fez was worn by the Mufti protectors. From 1913 to 1966, the Moorish Americans used to wear fezzes every day. You will see them on the streets, in courts, on the trains, certain job sites, etc. We can give credit to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali and ELBey, our constitutional lawgivers, for bringing this to light. Islam bringing the fez back to us. So therefore, my Moorish American brothers and sisters, do not hesitate to purchase or wear your genuine fez directly handmade by my Moorish empresses. And this is the Sheikh that's talking to us, right? Don't be afraid to be yourselves. As you begin to learn more of self, you know that you're not doing anything abstract or irregular. It's just you bringing things back to your remembrance. Islam. Now we have them at the BBT. If you are led to purchase a fez, wouldn't you want to purchase it from a sheikh that is given the teachings, right? Synchronizing the teachings for us, even bringing it to us in a form where even a child can understand it. Why? because you just won't be wearing the trinket, right? Because I'll tell you, and Sheikh will tell you as well, this could be a dunce hat. Just because you have it on your head doesn't give you any so-called authority to say this or that. But what it is an outward appreciation in an appearance of that which you are striving and to be, which is a master navigator upon the earth plane. And the symbol of this, those who recognize it, would test if this is what you are embodying, but just by your ways and action, you will expose yourself. Islam. Moving on. So regarding the sisters, the FEZ worn by you with or without a tassel in North America, our constitutional lawgivers never advocated that. Therefore, it is awaiting you. Facts. I'm not even going to stay here, but how could the FEZ represent the womb of woman and the womb of the universe? And we came from our mother in 9 months, which the FEZ is all about. And you trying to tell me that Maya, the womb man, cannot adorn the FEZ every day, 24 hours? What you mean? She gave it, 360 degrees, the crown of wisdom to the sun. This is why you see it. Come on, man, we reading on. Therefore, it is awaiting you. To my empresses, Islam. Moors, did you know that the graduation cap in the FEZ represents 360 degrees of knowledge, and the tassel represents Sophia? What you see right here, these 360 strands represents Sophia. What's Sophia? The wisdom that flows freely and is not pinned down. So, and I referenced earlier, enshrining them, and even in the Masonic orders, you might see the brothers adorn the FEZ, but what you would see is a pin that pins it down where it cannot flow freely. This is symbolic. This is symbolic. If this represents wisdom in 360 degrees of knowledge, if it's pinned down, what does that mean about the knowledge? What does that mean about the wisdom? I won't even go into that, because those with a thinking mind can do the math. Now, when earning any form of education pertaining to a degree, the hex alpha, what? The dual trine, which we saw in the beginning, right? What we saw, and we said that this also symbolizes the seal of Solomon, and some will say the Star of David. When this is talking about that particular symbol, hex alpha, right? The triangles overlapping each other, ascending and descending, right? It says the dual trine is the geometric representation of the Moabite Moorish FEZ. The Moabite Moorish woman has given a crown of knowledge to her sons within the span of what? 9 months, in the most what? Illuminated school of the universe. Where is that? Her womb. The FEZ symbolizes her womb. I'm gonna say that again. The FEZ symbolizes her womb, aka supreme mathematics, aka African Maya magic. Hika. What we doing? 9 to the 9th power of 9. The FEZ is the ancient and modern national headdress of the Moabite Moors. The FEZ is a brimless headdress, most commonly produced in scarlet, red, and ebony, with black tassel. The red FEZ is matched by the red field displayed in the Moorish national standard flag. The FEZ is also produced in black, white, and other color variations indicating other meanings, social order positions, etc. And again, we highlighting this. So this is just to whet your appetite. Now, the black FEZ is the highest degree. It is worn by the Mufti, Moorish United Front towards Islam, enforcement and security. The one who wears it symbolizes that he or she knows law in full and is able to defend it, including knowledge of martial arts, defense physically and spiritually, likened to the martial arts degree of the black belt. The FEZ is worn as a symbol of the womb. Now, I want to say anybody who's in the martial arts, who even from an outside perspective, enjoy watching martial art entertainment as far as movies go. Now, the black belt is when you're at a particular stage of development and you're ready to go up. You're ready to acquire the higher degrees, right? So just because you have it, right, it doesn't mean that you have mastered these things. This is the beginning, right, of knowledge. So I just want to impress upon these things, and when we see these, as it's written, not taking it as absolutes, but knowing that the journey of the soul and the development of one's own self is just that, a journey. And watch this. As it speaks about the red fez is matched by the red field displayed in the Moorish national standard flag. So when we see the Moroccan flag, when we see that red background, that's what it's talking about with that green pentagram star in the middle. This is what it's referencing, right? Now it says, boom. Now it says the top. I'm gonna go back to this because it says the fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. We're repeating that. The fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. Now, the top of it has a nipple shape that symbolizes the navel. A nipple shape is a nipple shape. If I could bring it, a nipple shape right here, right? Boom. Now, the top of it has a nipple shape that symbolizes the navel. The strands of the tassel are 360 degrees. This means it says 360 degrees by what is 360 of these individually, right? So when we have 360 degrees, I just want to slow down for a second. We have a complete cipher, or one would call a complete whole. When we're talking 360 degrees, we're talking wholeness. We're talking completion. We're talking in a particular realm of understanding or context. Wholly. It's a holistic perspective. Now, the top of it has a nipple shape that symbolizes the navel. The strands of the tassel are 360 degrees, as in 360 degrees of knowledge. The tassel is not pinned down as it is in the secret societies. Properly, the free-flowing tassel is indicative of what? Of one who is born of the womb, watch this, non-alien, right? Endowed with and inspired to and beyond 360 degrees of what? Knowledge. I'm going to read that again. The tassel flowing freely is indicative of one who is born of the womb, endowed with and inspiring to and beyond 360 degrees of knowledge. They navigate upon the earth plane, and their potential is what? Not limited, not pinned down, or what? Kept secret. However, it is sacred. That's key. The 4 sets of air holes you should have 4 sets of air holes are equal to the number of womb man, right? Which is what? 9, and add to 13, right? Just giving us, if you're doing the math, what it give us? 22. What? But that number 13 is the number of times a woman cycles per year, which is in tune with what? The cycles of the moon. That 22. That V. Fez, the national headdress of the Asiatic Moorish nation of North, South, and Central Al-Maraks, or Americas. Americas. Al-Moroccan. American. including the adjoining islands. The fez is typically of red felt with an indigo tassel. The fez is the headdress of the ancient Moors, the Moabite Moors, who spelled also M-U-U-R, right? It is geometrically formed to represent the eternal zodiac. The body of the fez symbolizes the womb of the cosmos and the womb of woman or mother. The 1 inch nipple that we talked about, or finial, which extends out of the center of the fez, is the number 1 and the 9th letter receiving the degrees reading. Now watch this. The 9th letter is what? I. So look, the 1, we talking about metaphysically. Watch this. That 1 is synonymous with the 9th letter of the alphabet. What? The I. The I. Watch this. The fez in the number 1 and the 9th letter receiving a degree regarding the fez hex alpha. The dual trine is the geometric representation of the Moabite Moorish fez. Now watch this. The Moabite Moorish woman has given the crown of knowledge to her sons within the span of 9 months in the most illuminated school of the universe, which is her womb. And this should sound familiar. The fez symbolizes her womb. In the phonetic Moorish alphabet, I, this is symbolic or symbolizes the navel I. So we're looking at the I phonetically, like saying an alphabet, right? I, representing I, but also the I, E-Y-E. And if we picture our navel, what does our navel look like? An eye. Watch this. The cord extending from the eye. Come on. The cord extending from the eye symbolizes the universal umbilical cord. Watch this. Of what? Universal life. And represents the oneness of all life. It also represents the tie to the source of humanity, Zodiacus, the first woman. Now I just want to pause because the term Zodiacus deserves its own study, but it's not a place here for me to go deep into that. But the concept of the first woman is kind of where I want to highlight and emphasize the importance of the woman and the high status that I am, by the grace of Allah, able to demonstrate here of the national headdress of the ancient Moabite Moors as being symbolic of the woman and of what? The eternal zodiac, and of what? The womb, which is of what? The woman, and of what? The universe. What light are we putting the woman collectively? This is just a tittle of the science of life being embodied in a symbol that noble men and women adorn, right? As an outer reflection of their connection to their ancient mothers and fathers. Islam, we're going to go a little bit further into this. And again, this is food, and it should be just seeds that are being planted by the Holy Spirit. Watch this. The circular round ball of the tassel represents the mundane circle or earth. The cord wrapped around the tassel strands hold the form of the circle. Watch this. Holds the form of the circle. Arid represents the unity of life. Now, I'm going to go over that again. So the circle, round ball of the tassel represents the mundane circle or earth. The cord wrapped around the tassel strands hold the form of the circle. It holds it in place. What does that represent? Represents the unity of life through what? The zodiac constitution of humanity. It's a pattern. It also represents the cyclical and reciprocal nature of life. What? The strands of the tassel represents the 360 degrees of the zodiac. So what you're witnessing now is everything in the symbol. Watch this. The highest law, arid authority in civilization. The zodiac crown of light. The national headdress of the mothers and fathers of the human family, founders of civilization and masters of the cosmos science, 3rd, 33rd, and 360 degrees master masons and eastern stars. This is a part of the hidden truth, which has been buried in the dark corner of the north gate, what they would say a shallow grave, right? The FEZ, symbol of the eternal zodiac, is called a tarbush, a tiara, a corona sol, and other names, which describe what? Its royal status. The wearing of the FEZ regarding masons of clandestine orders. FEZ is also the name of the old Moorish Capitolium and city, which we read about, which is located in northeast Morocco. Come on now, let's go. Morocco, Moroccan, and Moors are one and the same pedigree of people. American is a dialectical corruption of the name Al-Moroccan, which means descendant or descendants of Moroccans. The lack of consciousness of law and history on the part of any so-called Negro or Black Mason concerning the ancient history of the Americas has staggered, right, and stagnated or even retarded their ability to see through the veil of their own hoodwinking. The city of Fez in Morocco is in Morocco, not Europe. The Fez is the national headdress of the Asiatic Moors, not Albion Europeans. Only Freemasons wear the Fez by ritual, contrary to the natural dress of culture of the Moors. I want to say that again. The Fez, watch this, is the national headdress of the ancient or the Asiatic Moors, not Albion Europeans, right? So only Freemasons wear the Fez by ritual, contrary to the natural dress and culture of Moors. So it's going to be customary. If you're not seeing it already, you know this, your neighborhood, the nobles and empresses just walking up and down with the Fez. It's going to become customary and natural to see. Sure. Watch this. Moors are honoring. What are we doing by doing that? Are we saying, hey, look at me, I'm a Moor. Hey, look at me, I'm so shiny and clean. Or look at my splendor. Yeah, we're saying all of that too. We're saying all of that too, right? If you got a horn in your car, you might as well toot it. Like, who else going to do it for you, right? But at the core, what is this saying? This is Moors. We are honoring our ancient foremothers and fathers when we wear the Fez, right? Who is denying connection to Ruth the Moabites, and who is not? By way of recognizing or not recognizing the origins of the great philosophies and wisdom found in the halls of learning called masonry. So who are recognizing Ruth the Moabites? And we'll go into her more by the grace of Allah. But we have to take a moment of reflection. We said that we're not putting on something that belongs to someone else, right? What we doing? We're honoring our ancient mothers and fathers by adorning the FEZ. Not only adorning it, but also conducting our lives in a noble fashion, right? Learning how to navigate upon an earth plane. How? By seeking wise counsel, by having a good mapping guide. Islam. So we're going to pause right there. We're going to notate where we pause that too. History of the Americas has stagnated right there. Boom. We're going to bring it right back to you. If it be the will of Allah, this next coming Friday, finishing it up. Another note will jump on and we get some more. We go deeper into it. Islam. Listen, it was a plum pleasing pleasure to be in your presence. Listen, and we can't have unity without you and I. And you know what? You come first. And it was a pleasure just to be amongst your presence. And I thank you for taking out the time, for dedicating it with us. Islam, if you love the teachings, if you would like to learn more science about yourself, just about history and culture, our doors are open. We are touchable. You can reach out via email, burningbushtabernacle.ts@gmail.com. You can also, as you see at the bottom of your screen, reach out via Zelle. You see the Zelle information as on there as well. You can also email Sheikh directly at goodmankhary@gmail.com. goodmankhary@gmail.com. He's very touchable and he definitely returns the messages. So we have a great connecting point should you choose to use it. Islam, any questions that you have or would like to discuss, Islam, we're open for consultation. And with that, without further ado, listen, you could have been anywhere, but you chose to take out a moment of time to edify your spirit. And we pray that you continue to do so in many shapes, forms, and fashions with a holistic approach, right? At the BBT, we don't gravitate to one particular religious set and miss the essence of all the rest. This is a Sufihood brotherhood. So we are the triple rose, which means we don't diss any of the holy books or the sacred writings. By the grace of Allah, we're able to synchronize the teachings through a mapping and guide. And we invite you all to have the same opportunity to grow and to expand. With that, I say Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Aya Asha Aya. Shalom Aleichem. Al-Rahman Al-Rahim. And at the BBT, when we say Al-Haq, that's one of the illustrious attributes of Allah, and it stands for the truth. When we say Ya Muhammad, that's also an illustrious attribute of Allah, and it stands for the protector. We at the BBT see ourselves as truth protectors, and we cast our net out for all true and divine light seekers to come and join unto us. For the truth has no sides, for the truth is one, as man is with Allah. And with that, we say peace and love. Islam, let's go. Let's go. This is what we do, man. Peace and love, family.
I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager means. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dreams. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't. Really, it ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday thing. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, reaching knowledge, leaking seeds, sowing harvest, reaping man of meager means. I have yet
mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z.
Once again, this broadcast has been brought to you by mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z, where reading fundamental. Also brought to you by bindedbooks.com, where treasures are bound. Be sure to get all of your teas at My Son's Teas, the tea of teas, divinely prepared at herbsofmyaunt.com. Be sure to check out all of those musical stylings by Brian Hicks Bey at bhbeymusic.com. For your everyday items and religious regalia, be sure to check out moorishhaberdasher.com. And for that everyday especial Moorish drip, be sure to check out moorsachi.com. And all of these companies are powered by ALO Design Pros. Design your online business strategy today.
no such thing as failure, baby. Don't forget who made you. You can't be thinking mine or